challenge we really wanted to address was how do we make viewing and interacting with the utility network an intuitive experience for all utility professionals without having to ask them to become trained in GIS or having to have specialist hardware. In this scenario, I'm an engineer in the field who is responsible for updating the utility network to match the real-world assets. I have been part of the installation team for a new clean water service connection, and it is now time for me to add this to the digital twin of my network. As an engineer, I'm an expert in my field, but I don't necessarily have a background in GIS. Previously, we may have trained engineers in desktop software, or instead, had them capture the data elsewhere for somebody back at the office to add to the network. This is no longer the case. So let's take a look at the app in action to see how we've addressed this. We don't need expensive hardware or go through an extensive installation process to get started. The app just runs in a web browser, and I've got this one open in Chrome. This means we can view and edit any utility network on any device which has a browser. So this could be a desktop in the office or out in the field using a tablet. We've really concentrated on the user experience and making sure that the app is easy to learn and intuitive to any user. So we've done this by making the app understand the actions of a user. Here you can see if I select this pipe, more options are now available to me which are just relevant to this pipe, meaning we're only showing tools as and when we need them. We considered how we named the tools and where they're laid out, with the tools at the top being those that are needed the most. Along the sides, tools which enable people to explore the data, such as seeing the properties of a pipe, and a little bit later in our webinar, John will be running a trace which allows us to model scenarios and see which customers could be affected by an outage, and then view and share this in a dynamic report. At the bottom, the more advanced tools, which are not needed as often, are taking up the least amount of space. So I'm going to start by adding a site plan to the map. This, without a doubt, is my favourite feature of the app. It allows me to quickly drag and drop an image, adjust it, and if I have to hand the precise location, I can use that too. I'm happy with this, so I'm going to use it to create my new service connection. We don't just run the rules on every edit. We take these rules and we apply them every single time a user interacts with the app. What does that actually mean? Well, one rule we have in this particular utility network is residential services connect to valves. So here we can see that we've taken that rule, and when I select a new service, all the valves have started to glow. We're giving a visual feedback to a user before they've even made an edit to help guide them to make valid connections to the network, and thereby hoping to remove expensive QA post-processing. I've switched on measurements, and now I can use the same dimensions that I've got marked up on my plan. Okay, so lastly, I'm looking to create a new services connection for a residential home. Just to double check my understanding, I'm going to open the Networks Rule panel. This shows me every single rule that applies to this service. And I'm going to quickly check and see which one I need to create. I'm all done creating my new services connection, and it only took me a few minutes. Because of the rule set and the visual feedback on these rules, I haven't just created a pipe. This is now a connected asset to my network that myself and anyone at my organisation can immediately use for reporting or analysis. And I can also see this connectivity by selecting the pipe and viewing all the connections it has to the network. This is all taking it from the rules on the utility network. If these rules change, the app will automatically apply them without any configuration from an end user or a systems administrator. This is a tool for all utility professionals, as it helps to maintain the integrity of the data without the concern of expensive quality assurance processes. This means the network is always ready for further analysis or reporting. And to top it all off, it's running in a browser. And you could see it was pretty quick, meaning you can edit your networks anywhere, whether it's in the office or out in the field, without needing to have a background in GIS.